Are you ready to transform your approach to live streaming and digital media? Today, we are thrilled, absolutely thrilled, to welcome Ross Brand, a live streaming video strategist, a multiple number one best selling author, and a 63-time book award winner. Ross is the world's number one expert in live streaming and the visionary behind the 100 Live Streaming and Digital Media Predictions Volume 5, which we're going to talk about today. In today's episode, we're going to uncover Ross's insights into leveraging AI, building meaningful connections, and staying ahead in a rapidly changing digital landscape. So, stay with us for some actionable advice that you can use to elevate your content game. Authors like you've never heard them before, only on Books with Bridgetti.
Introducing Books with Bridgetti, a lineup of industry experts, award-winning authors, and talented indie authors. Buckle up for an unparalleled journey with us. Meet exceptional authors celebrated globally for their captivating narratives. Our authors craft imaginative stories that stay etched in your mind long after the final page. It's not just stories, it's lingering experiences that stay etched in your mind. Our authors share the inspirations that create mesmerizing page-turning stories. Journeys that embody resilience, that turn setbacks into stepping stones, rejections that spark growth, and hurdles that become a catalyst for creativity. From dramas, mysteries, fantasies, children's stories to reality stories, join us as we delve into the inspiration behind the story. Discover how authors breathe life into characters and meticulously craft plots that keep you turning the page. But wait, there's more. We share stories from indie authors as well as Amazon and New York Times best-selling authors. Get ready for an interview that'll have you on the edge of your seat. Stay tuned. Join us only on Books with Bridgetti.
If you have just joined us, welcome to Books with Bridgetti. Our live stream is brought to you compliments of StreamYard and Be Live Media. And in today's show, I have the absolute honor of speaking to Ross Brand, authors like you've never heard them before, only on Books with Bridgetti. Now, if you have never met Ross Brand before, he is a live streaming video strategist, a speaker, a multiple number one best-selling author with 63 book awards to his name. I'm going to say, and counting. He's recognized as the world's top expert in live streaming. Ross has over a decade experience in helping creators and entrepreneurs elevate their brands on a global scale. He's also the founder of Livestream Universe. He's hosted well over, and I'm sure this figure is grossly wrong, well over 1,000 podcasts and live shows. And he's earned his reputation as a pioneer in video podcasting. Today, we're going to be focusing on his latest book, 100 Live Streaming and Digital Media Predictions, Volume 5, which equips creators with the tools to thrive in an AI-driven world. So without any further ado, please help me welcome Ross to the screen, shall we? Ross Brand, welcome to the show. I am so happy to be spending today with you. Congratulations on launching 100 Live Streaming and Digital Predictions, volume number 5. How does it feel to celebrate this milestone? And I'm going to just jump in right there. What inspired this latest installment in the series?
Well, I'm really excited today to have the book out, and I'm excited to celebrate with you because you've been a part of all 5 of the books. You've been a tremendous contributor. You had me on your show when the first book came out, and we had a really long and fun conversation, and so that was a big part of when I think back through the series. You've just been amazing. When I think about what inspired this book, it's just times are getting complicated, aren't they? It seems so simple when I don't know. It was 19. It was 2017 maybe, and we were just going live on Facebook. We were using Be Live, a couple of little gadgets. You went live, and Facebook showed it to all your friends and family and your network of connections. Anybody who could get notified, it seemed they notified, and you could have hundreds, thousands of people watching. And then the culture was people shared it; they couldn't wait to jump on and see somebody live. And now all that has changed. The platforms are treating content differently. There's so many options of different technology and different platforms to use. And of course, AI has both made our lives easier and much more complicated in different ways. So it seems like a quaint time when I think back to Blab or, the early days of Facebook Live compared to now, where it really takes a lot of work to build an audience, to monetize that audience, and to not get sidetracked by so many options for content creation and AI tools that can be helpful or that can, take your money and your time. And so sorting all that out is kind of what this year is about. And I think it's just the recognition of 10 years of doing these predictions. We started in 2016 as a blog, is that, boy, it's just a different world than the one where we were at 10 years ago, particularly for things like live streaming and online business.
It is, and having said that, I almost feel like we're just getting started. Things have changed a lot, but I feel like we're just, in one sense, getting started. Now, this latest volume 5 shares insights from 102 industry leaders. Can you share how you bring such a diverse group of voices together for a project? 102 is a lot of people. How do you do it?
Well, we call it 100, but actually it's been over 100, probably going back to, I don't know, 2018, 2019, something like that. One year, I think we had 160 something or whatever, which was insane. Basically, each year I invite the people who contributed the year before, and then I extend invitations to other people who joined my network, who've been on my shows, or I've been on their shows, or I've gotten to know. And then in the last few years, I everybody who's kind of been in it has gotten an invite, and it's gotten more. I think the quality just keeps going up each year, to be honest. I think at the beginning, people thought of a prediction as, I give 1 or 2 sentences. And now people are thinking, okay, this is what I think's going to happen, or this is what I know is going to happen because it's already happening. But let me tell you why, or let me tell you how, or even better, people are saying, what can you do about it, or how can you get yourself ready for it? So I think the people who've continued to contribute to the predictions have just it's. I thought last year was the best book by far, and I don't know that I can judge this year's book yet, but I feel like in the same vein, the predictions are getting more in depth and more interesting, and probably more diverse in terms of the content, just because we're in such a more complicated and action-packed landscape than we were 10 years ago.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Now, on launch day, readers and I think the other contributors to the book are eager to know what is the one prediction or insight from the book that you think will surprise them and just knock their socks off.
Well, I'll tell you one that surprised me, and I don't spend a lot of time in the world of paid traffic and advertising, and There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not looking down on it. I probably should for some of the things that I do. But, so much of advertising, particularly on platforms like Facebook, had to do with the science of audience targeting and really drilling down and being able to build those personas and get that data. And Amanda Robinson, who's an expert in that area, talks about how that's going to go away with privacy legislation, regulation, and the way the platforms are changing. That you're going to have to cast a wider net, and so advertising and the nature of advertising on those platforms is going to change. And that wasn't something that I was focused on. So that's a prediction that definitely caught my attention.
Definitely something to look forward to. I cannot wait to read everyone's predictions. I've already got my copy. So if you're watching this show right now and you haven't grabbed a copy, it's on Amazon. Please go and do so. Now, Ross, the digital landscape is changing very, very rapidly, especially with AI. Why would you say Volume 5 is such an essential guide for creators who are looking to thrive, not just in 2025, but also beyond?
Yeah, I mean, AI is here to stay. It's got its good things, it's got its not good things, but it's a reality that people in every industry are grappling with, and will do more so as the years go by. I think 2 years ago, ChatGPT was new, and some people who were on the cutting edge were able to work that into their predictions, but they had only had a limited time with it. Last year, people started realizing the use cases, like, hey, I can speed the process of doing my podcast notes, or hey, I can get a list of 10 awesome YouTube titles that would have taken me hours of research to do, and things like that. Now we're seeing it go beyond, okay, there's a simple task I can do, or I can make this one thing easier, and people are talking more about the different implications, what it means for you as a creator, what it means for you as an employee, what it means for you as a business owner. How will it affect podcasting? How will it affect live streaming? How will it impact how we create, how we consume content, customer service? I mean, there's so many different use cases and so many different tools now. And now people have had time to play around with these things. It's still very new, but much like talking about live streaming 10 years ago, we had at least gotten our feet wet with it when we started doing that. And now that's kind of where we are with AI, which is, how do I get on the right side of this? How do I learn how to use this tool to be better at whatever I'm trying to do? Or how do I become good at understanding what makes the tool effective? Because that when jobs and opportunities go away, you're still going to need people to program the AI, generate the prompts, edit the material on the other side, because you can't just take what it spits out and drop it into an article, a show, a book. If you want to have originality and you want to have those specifics. So I think there's a lot to be figured out still with AI. And even though, like, last year, AI was in every prediction, had a touch of AI, and there's a lot of AI in this book, I wouldn't call it an AI book. I'd say it's you have a great understanding from a lot of the people that are here about what's going on with AI, but it's also finding its way as like another tool. Okay, AI, how does it help with digital marketing? How does it help with a video podcast? How does it help with getting me to get something accomplished quicker? And I think that's why we can still call this live streaming and digital media predictions, not AI predictions, because AI is a part of it. But ultimately, there's something bigger that we're creating, that we're selling, that we're in business for, or we're communicating to the people that are in our audience. So, yeah, I think it's bigger than AI, but you can't deny that AI is a huge part of anything that we're doing in business and online right now.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. I think a lot of people misunderstand that it's a tool, um, and just because a car could kill you or a bus could kill you doesn't mean you're going to not travel.
Right.
And the same thing with AI. It's a tool, same way as you'd use a car responsibly, use AI
You-
responsibly.
You're not still
But
taking
it's
the
a
horse
tool.
to school, right? You're not
Yeah,
still taking the horse to the shop or to the market or whatever.
absolutely. Ross, now this is volume 5. If you look back on starting the series, what would you say for you has been the most rewarding part of creating the series?
I think that when the pandemic hit in 2020, and that year's predictions, really the 2021 predictions, but we did a live stream for the 5 year anniversary. We had a lot of people on, and I think going to a book and being able to hopefully help people beyond the industry, beyond people, people like us were the audience for the blog posts. But the book has a chance to reach a wider audience and make a wider impact. And the fact that people were now relying on these tools to stay in business, to keep their jobs, that, everybody had a webcam and a microphone and had to be on Zoom or another, you know, live video app communicating, and so that was the most gratifying to see, that there was an interest in this and a need for it beyond the industry people who contributed to and read the blog. So I'd say that was the most rewarding part of it, is being able to help people beyond those who were already kind of entrenched in the industry.
Now, I think you've kind of partly answered my next question for you, but um, how do you see volume 5 in particular shaping conversations in the digital media space moving forward?
I mean, I think some of the things that we talked about already, I think the nature of algorithms, how much they've been influenced by TikTok. Um, you can be like me and almost never use TikTok, but TikTok has still had, and you don't have to like it. I'm not a fan of it particularly. Um, I don't, but it's had a profound impact on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on algorithms in almost every social platform. And in some ways, it's a great leveler, because the old way was you built an audience by producing a lot of content, and then you could rely on that content being shared to your audience and pushed out to that audience over and over again. And so the people with the bigger audience would generally get more eyeballs and attention on their content. And now almost all the algorithms seem to be, what have you done for me lately? Let's take this individual piece of content, a lot like YouTube does with videos these days, and let's find an audience for it. This is the subject matter, this is the format. Let's feed it to people who watched something like that before or looked at something like that, and let's test it. And if it doesn't get some activity early on, maybe we don't waste our time with it. And if it does, then you've got the potential. Even if you have an audience of 3 people, you still have a potential to go viral, based on how all the short form content in particular, but all social media content is working. So I'd say that's one thing that is a 2025 topic of discussion, that you have to realize that the old ways of doing things aren't necessarily working anymore. And the other one I like to say is it's something that I kind of did, but I didn't do it consciously. And that is, you really have to build community from day one, more so than ever, because when you build community, sure, you can do it on the social platforms, and that's how we did it before, right? We joined Facebook groups, we created Facebook groups, or we just put out engaging content and people rallied around that. But now I think you have to have a dedicated space where you you send people who enjoy your content, because that's the only way that you know that they're going to be notified. If they join your email list or your Substack, or they join a Mighty Networks or school or locals community, something that's in a more niche space than like a Facebook group. Because what you're learning is that you create the Facebook group that they told you to create 5 years ago, and then you post in it, and they don't show it to anybody within the group that you started and that the people joined in order to get your content and chat with you. So you need to recreate that somewhere else, which is why I've been very focused on Substack the past several months. You have your website, but this is another way where people can share their email or just subscribe if they're Substack users. Essentially, they are sharing their email, and then every time I post a new video or podcast or article, it automatically gets emailed to the people on the list. I don't have to wonder whether the algorithm's going to work in its favor or not. Now the audience that's there because they wanted to opt into my content can decide for themselves: do they like it, do they not like it, do they want to stay, do they want to leave, do they want to leave a comment that says do something different. But I'm engaging with the people who want to engage with me, and I think that's where we're going, and maybe in some platform that we've not even thought of, or maybe one that's out there, is going to change how they do things and combine those elements of email notifications, of audio and video, writing, email marketing, and the niche community space where you can have ongoing conversations, not just with the people who have opted in, but they can do it with each other. And I think that's ultimately the one who gets that right is going to be the platform that's going to be going 2030 and beyond. It could happen next year. It could happen in 5. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think inevitably we're going to move on to some other platform, either that we haven't thought of yet or that we didn't think of as one that would become the new quote unquote Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or what have you. I think YouTube's still a very strong platform, by the way. It's a difficult one, but it's one that if you're looking to monetize and have staying power, I think YouTube's still a very important platform to be involved in.
I agree. I want to talk for a minute about because I know we're kind of hurtling towards the end of our time, but I do want to talk a little bit about, because you've done exceptionally well with the marketing of this book. So I do want to talk for a minute about the cover design. How did you come up with something as memorable as this, and how has that impacted the marketing of the book?
Well, you know what I did? I stayed up pretty much all night when the first book was getting ready to be published, and I involved a couple of friends, and we went over designs after designs, and I came up with 2 designs that I thought were pretty good, and then I decided maybe they're not good enough, and I talked to my friend Dale Roberts, who has worked with a lot of different designers, and he recommended Danielle Camerlinga, and I basically showed her kind of what I had been doing, but said, I bet you'll have an idea that's better than that, and let's just go with whatever you would instinctively come up with based on the brief that I gave you. And she came up with the big 100. She came up with everything. I mean, this is her design. she had put a big microphone in the front, and everybody in my world loved the microphone when I showed it to them, but I was a little hesitant about it. And eventually I decided let's do it without the microphone. And I feel that's been a good decision too, because it really shines the spotlight on the 100, and that's been great branding. But I owe Danielle everything, all the praise on this cover. I've designed covers for other books or co-designed covers, but this is all her work. She's exceptional at it, and yeah, it makes a difference. It definitely does.
I love the design. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and it does shine a spotlight on the book. Was there any thought process into the colors that you've chosen?
I mean, I think like the first colors probably came from sort of the blue of Livestream Universe and the lighter blue of sometimes a border or whatever. Um, eh, and then it was just like, oh, we need different colors for each edition. So we went cool color, hot color, cool color, hot, that kind of thing. Um, and I would say that while this cover certainly is distinct from the others, eventually you run out of colors for the gradient that looks attractive and fits the series. So, it'll be interesting if we do more books, how we will, continue to come up with new covers. But each of the first four were really, really distinct, and I think this one's, really good too. And I've tried as much as possible to keep everything like basically the same text in the same place, same, so it's really a series when you look at it, and it's all part of the same series.
Ross, is it premature to ask you what's next for you?
Well, Podfest is next week. If all goes well, I will be at Podfest. I will be doing a talk about Substack for video podcasting, and then I'll be on a panel with Brian Cholman and Nancy Deborah Barrows and Junaid Ahmed talking about LinkedIn, growing and monetizing on LinkedIn, and probably my talk, my portion of it will probably have something to do with LinkedIn newsletters, which is, I committed to doing. I think I did about 30 something in 2024, and I'm a believer in that, and I'm interested to see what LinkedIn's going to do with it going forward. Also interested to think, did they ever take live streaming out of beta? I don't know. What did they ever do with LinkedIn Live? We're all fighting to get on LinkedIn Live, and then it doesn't seem like it's okay. I don't mean to bash LinkedIn. I actually, I'm a fan of the LinkedIn platform, and I think among the social networks, that was the one that I made a commitment this year as, I'm going to put LinkedIn as my first priority. I would say Substack, if you consider that a social platform and it has some social features, is probably like my number one right now. But certainly LinkedIn and YouTube I see as platforms that have a lot of value beyond the noise.
Absolutely. Ross, this was amazing, and huge, huge, huge congratulations again on publishing volume 5. So excited. So to our amazing audience out there, if you've enjoyed our conversation today about, just talking about what's next in this live streaming space, please go ahead and buy a copy of 100 Live Streaming and Digital Media Predictions, Volume 5, now available on Amazon. And please do join us next time to speak to another author sparking conversation and inspiration, one page at a time. Ross Brand, thank you. Really enjoyed this, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks again for being a big part of the series and really coming up with thoughtful and interesting predictions and analysis of what's going on online. Each of the 5 books, I very much appreciate it.
Big pleasure. And as always, thanks very much. Take care, everyone. joining us on Books with Bridgetti. Join us next time for industry experts and award-winning authors.
I think this might be, I've been on over 24 different podcasts and radio shows in the last couple of months. And this has to be one of the most sophisticated, what the kids like to teach called bomb.com shows and presentations that I've ever been on. It's fantastic. Thank you for having me here.
Available wherever great books are sold near you.